In the heart of ancient Egypt, where the Nile kissed the Mediterranean, there once stood a temple not of gods but of human genius, a sanctuary of wisdom that sought to gather all the world's knowledge under one roof. It was called the Library of Alexandria, and for centuries it was the brightest flame of civilization. Yet today it exists only in fragments, half remembered through ashes and whispers. What happened to this beacon of enlightenment? Who burned the knowledge that could have changed the course of human history? The story of the Library of Alexandria is not just the story of a building lost. It is the story of humanity's eternal struggle between curiosity and destruction, between progress and power. Imagine walking through its grand colonnades 2,000 years ago. Shelves stretching endlessly, papyrus scrolls stacked high like stairways to the gods, scholars from Greece, Persia, India, and Egypt debating the mysteries of the stars, medicine, and the human soul. Here, mathematics was reborn, astronomy refined, and philosophy blossomed. It was said that within its walls were hundreds of thousands of scrolls, the combined wisdom of every culture known to the ancient world. Knowledge was the kingdom's greatest treasure, and the library its beating heart. But like all hearts, it was vulnerable to fire. The library's destruction is one of the greatest tragedies in human history, and one of the most debated. Some say it burned once, others claim it died 1,000 times by the hands of conquerors, kings, and fanatics. The first spark of its demise came in 48 BCE, when Julius Caesar, caught in the chaos of war against Pompey's forces, ordered the ships in Alexandria's harbor to be set ablaze. The flames spread uncontrollably, leaping from the docks to the warehouses, then to the city's edge, and from there to the library. Ancient writers say that tens of thousands of scrolls, the lifework of generations, turned to smoke in the sky that night. Caesar's soldiers watched as centuries of knowledge in astronomy, medicine, philosophy, literature vanished in hours. Yet some believe this was not the end. They claim the main library survived, that its heart beat on within the Serapeum, a daughter library within the temple of Serapis. There the knowledge of the ancients endured for a time. Centuries later, another storm came, this time not of armies but of ideas. The world was changing. Christianity was rising, and with it came both light and shadow. In 391 CE, under Emperor Theodosius, pagan temples were outlawed. The Serapeum, by then one of the last strongholds of classical learning, was attacked by mobs of zealots. Statues of ancient gods were smashed, scholars scattered, and the remaining scrolls likely destroyed or seized. What survived that day may have been taken by the winds of empire, carried to Constantinople, or lost at sea. But even then, the flame refused to die. For a brief moment, hope flickered again in the hands of a woman, Hypatia of Alexandria, one of the last great philosophers and scientists of the ancient world. A mathematician, astronomer, and teacher, she became the symbol of the city's last breath of reason. Hypatia taught that truth was not owned by any faith or nation. It belonged to all who sought it. But in 415 CE, she too became a victim of ignorance. Accused of heresy, Hypatia was dragged from her chariot by a mob, murdered in the streets, her body torn apart. A brutal message to all who dared to question authority. With her death, Alexandria's age of wisdom came to an end. But the story did not end there, for history has a cruel way of repeating itself. Centuries later, in 642 CE, after the Islamic conquest of Egypt, the library's ghost reappeared in legend. It was said that Caliph Omar, when asked what to do with the remaining books, replied, "If their contents agree with the Quran, they are unnecessary. If they disagree, they are heretical. Burn them." For years, historians repeated this tale, though modern scholars doubt its truth, arguing that by then the library had already long vanished. Still, the story endures because it captures a timeless truth, that knowledge, when seen as a threat, is always the first to burn. Whether by Caesar's fire, by religious zeal, or by the slow decay of neglect, the Library of Alexandria was not destroyed once, but over and over again by the same hand, human fear. The fear of ideas, the fear of truth. Yet even in its ashes, the Library of Alexandria left behind something indestructible, a legacy. For centuries, its dream haunted scholars. The Muslim world would go on to build the House of Wisdom in Baghdad, the greatest library of the Middle Ages, inspired by Alexandria's vision. Later, during the Renaissance, artists and scientists like Leonardo da Vinci and Copernicus rekindled its spirit. The knowledge that once filled those papyrus scrolls found new life in different languages, scattered across time, in fragments of Aristotle, in the mathematical works of Euclid, in the healing methods of Hippocrates. Like seeds carried by the wind, they took root wherever minds dared to think freely. The true Library of Alexandria, then, was never just a building. It was an idea. That knowledge is sacred, that curiosity is divine, and that every question asked is an act of rebellion against ignorance. But what if it hadn't been lost? What if the library had survived? Imagine for a moment a world where the knowledge of ancient engineers, physicians, and astronomers flowed uninterrupted into the modern age. A world where humanity's learning never burned, where science advanced centuries earlier. How far could we have gone? Could we have cured disease, reached the stars, or prevented the Dark Ages altogether? The destruction of the library was not just the loss of books, it was the loss of possibilities. Each scroll was a voice silenced, each flame a dream erased. Yet paradoxically, the memory of that loss continues to inspire. Every library built since, from Oxford to Alexandria's new Bibliotheca Alexandrina, opened in 2002, carries the same spirit, to preserve what can be lost in a single spark. In the end, the question of who burned the Library of Alexandria may never be answered with certainty, because it was not a single act. It was a pattern woven through human history. Knowledge and power have always been at war. Empires rise and fall, beliefs change, but ignorance is always waiting to strike again. And yet, just as fire destroys, it also purifies. From its ashes came a renewed thirst for truth, the realization that no empire, no faith, no ruler can truly kill an idea once it has been written, spoken, or dreamed. The library's story is a warning and a promise that wisdom is fragile but also eternal. Today, as we drown in oceans of information, perhaps the true question is not who burned the library, but whether we are burning it again, piece by piece, through apathy and forgetfulness. In every era, the guardians of knowledge must decide, will we protect truth or let it fade into myth once more? The ruins of Alexandria may be silent, but their message is not. They whisper across time and protect the light, because once it goes out, the world grows dark. This is not just the story of a library, it is the story of us. The story of our hunger for meaning, our capacity for destruction, and our unending hope that somewhere, somehow, truth will survive the flames. Subscribe and share to my channel, The Story of Time.